everyone, and welcome back to Between Realities, your new favorite or old favorite, or you're definitely your favorite VR podcast. Oh boy, welcome. My name's Alyx. My name's Alyx, and I'm joined here by my co-host Skiva.
What's up?
How are you doing?
I'm great, dude. I'm great. I have lots of VR going on. There's lots of stuff happening in the world of VR, and I'm excited as always,
dude. Yeah, I feel like the past month, right? Maybe past couple of weeks, past month, super hype. Like so much awesome stuff, and my personal love of VR and the amount of time I spend in VR have both been reinvigorated quite a bit lately. I've been in there a lot. Nice. Yeah, it's been awesome. So It's a great time to be a part of the VR community, and we thank all of you for being a part of this community with us, like Jensen Fox, who's first in chat today. Hello, good sir. Thank you for being here and getting this party started, dude. He was like, yo, I hear there's a party here, and he was right. And he got it up and running. So, you know, the beat dropped and everything got started, and we're here and we are live and we are excited for you to be with us. Kevin Frost is here. He's got the red solo cups. Quicksilva PSVR. You're like Quicksilva VR girl. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely PSVR, sure. But I would say Quicksilva VR is a little bit more your speed these days, huh? Mr. Trinidad's here. Big bad spliff ready and waiting for his boys. Damn. You know, dude, can I tell you a secret? We normally wait. Didn't today. Smash Reality, how you doing, bro? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Robyn's Reality, hello, milady. Thank you for the competitive Beat Saber. Lately, I've been playing a little Beat Saber with Robyn.
Nice.
Trying to use it to get into shape.
Nice.
So we've been going hard and playing the bangers.
Sweet.
Yep. Sampler 19's here. Hello. Thank you, Sampler, for joining us. Mike Newton, my Friday can begin. Dude, that is the comment of the day. Woo-hoo. The comment of the day from Mike Newton. Gamertag VR, he made it with the banging tunes. Dude, GT, what's up,
What's up, GT?
Thank you for being here. Gamertag VR, an absolute legend in the VR community. Danny Hunkley, one of the OG Between Realities fans. Thank you,
up,
Danny,
buddy?
for being a part of this thing. Grumpy Duck VR is here. Yo, 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 how's it going, fellas? It is going great, bro.
So many awesome people
that you're here.
Yeah.
Person, greetings and salutations.
What's up, buddy?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today is exciting. We have some winners of some contests to announce, and we also have a guest with us. We decided to have a guest for today's show, and
who would have thought?
I know, and we're pretty excited about it. This is a guy who is a dear friend to us and to a lot of you out there in the VR community. He is a Half-Life Alyx custom modder and mapper. He is a Population 1 streamer, and he is a what I would call a VR generalist. He definitely knows his shit. He kind of has his toes in a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna stop explaining who it is, right? And welcome to Between Realities, please, Mr. AspinDarkfire. Yo, dude.
Hey,
yo,
everybody. Hello and welcome. I mean, you were going over the guests in chat, and I'm like, man, how did you get stuck with me as a guest when you have all those amazing people in chat? Like, just going over the names, I'm like, holy geez, Mr. Trinidad's there, Robyn's there, Jensen Fox, dude. I see his things come up from Twitch all the time.
Such good stuff, man. Dude, everyone here is just friggin' amazing. Like, I wish we could just all hang out and party together.
We will. We fucking will.
Yeah.
We definitely will, dude.
Well, I don't know if I'll survive that. That'll be a good time.
We're going to get there, dude. It's going to happen. I'm excited. And we're excited to have you, dude. Thank you. Looks like you are joining us from within the world of Population 1 today.
I am. And as I was talking to these fine folks ahead of time, I had this big plan. I had this Half-Life Alyx custom map all built up. I had a screen with Between Realities running on the background. It was all wonderful. I go to put the finishing touches on, start up Live, and I'm like, right, it's Source 2. Live isn't going to work. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to put myself in a Pop 1. So I apologize. It's a bit, I mean, you got the double arm action going on here, which is it's a bit strange. But this is Live inside Pop 1.
It's disgusting. Yeah. Oh my God.
Goodness. Anyways, yes.
It looks cool. I mean, you know, the double-ended,
and your double-ended. I thought you like revealed your search internet history a little too much on Between Realities with your Freudian slips.
the quad arms, I should say, is definitely the stuff of nightmares. But other than that, it looks great.
Yeah, I got to get the elbows to match up a little better because they go in different directions. So I'll put my arms down so it doesn't distract you guys too much. But and also thank you again, Between Reality guys, for letting me come as an avatar. This is something I've been experimenting with a lot more. Is like being able to talk to people, to introduce myself as the avatar, because this is what I'm more comfortable as. Like I am more comfortable talking to people in VR as an avatar than actually going out and meeting people in real life. So this is kind of an extension of sort of stuff I've been thinking about. And just thank you for allowing me to do this. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. You know, like I said during the intro, like, first of all, you're just a good friend, man. Like, it's been awesome getting to know you over the past, I guess, year and a half or so. I don't know how long it's been, right? But it's been a while. And it's been awesome, like getting close with everybody in the VR community. And, you've got a YouTube channel, right? AspinDarkfire. You have a Twitch where you stream Population 1. And I've seen you do like some Saints and Sinners. And lately you've been getting into a little bit of Zenith too, right?
Yeah. So I've been exploring some different games. Actually, turns out there's a Walking Dead. Early on when I was doing VR videos, I did some Walking Dead stuff, and those videos still get a ton of views. I think it's because Walking Dead came out on Quest and PSVR so much later. People are going back and asking questions like, well, how the heck do I find the Blue Mansion, the first level? And it's still getting hits and hits and hits. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back, do a few more videos with the expansion coming out. Was it May 20th? Is that correct? I think that's correct.
I don't know.
People are going to be revisiting that game, and they're going to want to go back and finish all the things they missed. So all the blue recipes I missed, I'm going back and putting up videos on how to find them so people can quickly figure out, basically how to complete the game before you start the expansion. Because that game is just phenomenal. It is one of the better games.
I love that game, and I should have known we were going to talk about it since I removed my Walking Dead button from my Stream Deck today in favor for some other stuff. But I do really, really love the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I love the mechanics. I love the melee. I mean, every game needs to take it's just take the card from the melee card from the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I mean, they really got that shit down. Oh,
it's aged so well. Yeah. Going back to it, like playing some of the games, like the newer games that have come out, going back to it and be able to like grab someone's head and stick a knife, like, and it feels like you feel like that impact. It's just, not a lot of games have done that really well. Like even some of the newer games, especially not like the VR MMOs, which we can talk about that separately. When you go into those, you lose a lot of those physics. When you go into Pop 1, you're swinging a sword, you're swinging a knife, but you're not grabbing people. There's no real good interaction, like physical interaction between the people. You go to Walking Dead, and it's just it feels so right. Even Half-Life Alyx. When you play through the game, you might not notice it because things are jumping at your face, combine soldiers, you're shooting them from far away. But if you actually set the models to friendly and then you go and interact with models, you cannot grab a live head crab. There's a hitbox around it that prevents you from getting your hands on it until it gets a ragdoll. So until you kill the head crab, you can't really interact with it, which feels really weird when you come from, again, Saints and Sinners, where you can grab people and do all sorts of stuff. So it's fun to, like, when you really investigate those mechanics, like, what are you able to do in these games? And yeah, Walking Dead just does it really well. And even it has limitations, but it's really nice.
And with Half-Life, that was probably the one thing that broke my immersion in Half-Life is when a head crab came at me and I went to swat it away or whatever, and it just, there's no melee, so it doesn't work. And that is my only gripe with that game, is the melee or lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
But phenomenal game.
Kevin Frost is here. Hey, Kevin Frost, good to see you.
What's up? How you doing?
Obscure Nerd VR Andy is in the house.
What's up?
Oh, by the way, Obscure Nerd started a podcast, and I'm going to be on it tomorrow.
Ooh.
There it is.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I think it's at noon tomorrow on the Obscure Nerds podcast. I'm going to be there. It's me and him. We're going to be kicking it.
Sweet.
And it's going to be really awesome. So go and subscribe right now and set the notifications and do that. If you haven't.
That'll be good. I will. I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, you'll have one viewer at least. At least.
One. Hell yeah, dude! You can always count on you, Steve. You're the homie, bro. All right, so AspinDarkfire, we're talking a little bit about Half-Life. You have done some modding, right? Like that's how that's the kind of investigating you were just talking about. You like reach in and start messing around with headcrabs and can see their hitboxes and stuff like that. When Half-Life was coming out and people are talking about like Source and all of this stuff and like how Gary's mod kind of was birthed out of the Half-Life world, there was like some pretty high expectations out of the modding community. You know what I mean? Do you think that the modding community in Half-Life Alyx has gone as far as we kind of thought it would? Like, is it as amazing as we thought? Have we yet to crack the code, so to speak? Where are we at in the world? Do you have any perspective on it?
Yeah, I think there's so much more we could be doing. The tools that are available for Half-Life Alyx modding are really quite good. It doesn't take long. The bar is super low to get into it, which is what I love. So you don't have to know a lot about programming or any of that to jump into the workshop tools and, put up just a few characters, put a map up. I've got, I think, 30 odd tutorials. So if you're curious about like, how do I, make a Combine soldier walk in a circle? Well, I've got a tutorial for that. There's tons of tutorials, and there's a whole group of guys out there, guys, gals, who are making tutorials that will get you into it really quick. So it's really quick to get in and do simple things. However, as things start to get more complicated, it gets a little harder because you don't have access to the source like you did back in Half-Life 2. Remember all those like games that basically spun out of Half-Life? Like Counter-Strike was like a Half-Life mod, right? All these things were like Half-Life mods that became games of their own. I haven't seen that with Half-Life Alyx yet, and I think part of the reason is we don't have the access we need to add things on. It's a lot more difficult, and there's less people doing it because there's less of a consumer base for it, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of people playing Half-Life Alyx. I don't think there's a ton of people playing through Half-Life Alyx mods. There's thousands, but I'm not talking like millions, right? Which is what you really need. So when you're a modder, right, you're looking for people to play your maps, right? Like that's why you build a map. Like you have fun building, but then you want people to go in there and play with it and give you feedback. And the community there isn't huge. Now, a good person I talked about that is Sally but Bradley, and see how he's feeling about the modding community, because he's released some of the most popular maps right now in Half-Life Alyx. But even then, the traction isn't massive. It's big, but it's not massive. That's with everything in VR. So that's a long answer. I think there's so much more we could unpack there, and I'm hoping to get more access to tools. But in general,
we will.
Just the step that they're letting you, I think that's what more and more developers should be doing. Like, why doesn't, The Walking Dead open up for modders to make their own stories within the Walking Dead universe? There are some brilliant people out there who could write some fantastic stories using that engine, right? I think it's pretty sure that one's Unity.
Yeah, it's hard to charge you $15 for DLC when you do that shit, though.
That is a problem, but I think what Half-Life tried to demonstrate is people will still pay for it, right? Like people still pay for Half-Life to get their content, even if there's tons of other content. But I can see where a publishing studio will get concerned, right? And in fact, I think we'll talk about Demio, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. But that one, I played that last night.
Before we get into that,
so yeah, we'll stop there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
before you get because so just because we're on the Half-Life thing, right? And I feel like this is kind of a good segue to get into our buddy who's in chat right now, who is Quicksilva, or as a lot of people know her as QUIK Cosplay, and she has, if I can find the right button, she has recreated some Half-Life Alyx shit that has just absolutely blown my mind to bits. Like to the point where this stuff almost looks like it's legit rendered right out of the friggin' game. Like I don't even know how to, like, this is just friggin' amazing to me. Like this shit that you're looking at right here is like Half-Life in 2030, right? Like it will look just friggin' like this. Right. And
this is so some next level cosplay, which I am of course proud to say I was just the first one to think of this as a good fit for her, which to me just seemed insanely obvious, right? Like she already just kind of has the Alyx vibe going, and it's like you can tell that she could just instantly be transformed into Alyx, and here it is. It's amazing. So I'm proud to have a small hand, but if it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. You know what I mean? Like if you're asking for recommendations, to the VR community about what character you should be, dude, Half-Life Alyx is perfect. So this is amazing. It's almost like and
it's just kind of in general, right? I mean, this could be people that like Half-Life at all, Half-Life 2 especially, are gonna just freak out over this, even if they've never played Half-Life Alyx. Right, because I mean, we all know Alyx Vance from Half-Life 2, and being Gordon Freeman in Half-Life 2, you see her a lot, right? You don't really see her because you are her in Half-Life Alyx,
right?
But I mean, so that picture right there is where she's, you know, next to the Half-Life 2 Alyx Vance. But this is just legit the best cosplay I've ever seen.
Well, and you know, kind of to your point right there, it's like you never see her. You know, like when you play through that game, you hear her voice, you're seeing her hands the whole time, but you never see a rendering of her. I guess maybe you do for like a second. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I don't. No spoilers, right? No spoilers. So, but anyway, you never see her, and there's no mirrors or anything like that. So this is almost like as good as we can get right now in 2021, as far as like a modern version of Alyx. You know, like I wouldn't be surprised if people are using these images for years to come and like report like their book report about the Half-Life series or something like that. You know, like pull this off the internet or something. It's legit.
I could see Valve looking at this and saying, we got our next Half-Life game, Half-Life 3 has to look like this. Right.
Hell yeah,
dude. So, I mean,
anyway, good shit, QUIK.
Good. Yeah,
this is
freaking awesome, man.
Ridiculous, and we are huge fans.
Huge. Anyway, so
I was going to add to that before we leave Half-Life Alyx. If you look for the assets, so if you look at the assets for some of the NPCs, like, well, I mean, most of them, even Gordon himself, if you try and find Alyx's face, there isn't a nice asset for Alyx's face actually in the game because you never see it. Like you never see it from close up, and
your
again,
head is her head.
Too much about it, exactly, but yeah, so they never made a nice higher rendered asset that we could use for Alyx's face. And you can see some videos, some of the guys that make videos in SFM, Alyx's face looks like really old. It doesn't quite look right. It was really hard for them to get a nice asset to render. But as far as the Half-Life community, like outside of Alyx is concerned, it's phenomenal. Like, I swear there is like this head crab fascination out there. And I love head crabs myself. So I have videos of just me playing with head crabs, like literally just like taking them for walks or, you know, playing fetch.
They are very funny.
People love head crabs. Like it's because they are strangely terrifying, but cute. Like if they're not jumping at you, just the noises they make, everything about them is just like,
and they're they kind of resemble the face huggers a little from Aliens, and that's a very popular series of movies, and like just that whole thing where something grabs onto your face and won't let go, right? And like I was telling Alex, because he's never played Boneworks, for some reason the head crabs in Boneworks bother me way more than the Half-Life ones or the Alien ones. They'll freak me the out, man, like seriously, because they grab onto your face and they don't let go until you rip them off, and they try to suck you into another reality, right, into a different VR, and it's just they're terrifying. So head crabs are just they're fucking awesome, man. They're really cool.
Cute. They're cute. I mean, if they do get you, I'm thinking they're gonna rip your chest open for some like if you look at the lore, it's not clear why they rip the chest, the ribs break open. But they do some terrifying things to people, right? They have a beak that goes into the skull and into the brain, and just a transformation is absolutely terrifying. But for some reason, you look at them, they're like, "Damn, that's cute." Like it's a nice little friendly thing that you can. Yeah. Anyways, it's a very cool community. I'm very happy with some of the responses I've gotten from the just like playing around with head crabs.
Yeah,
people like it.
Person mentioned in chat Lamar is the best head crab, and that's he was a pet head crab in Half-Life 2.
Person also wanted to know if it was too late to get a static camera and live, and I also am wondering if it's too late to get a static camera and live for AD.
Oh, because the background's swinging around,
swinging all over the place.
Oh, am I making anybody sick? I can try and
yeah, you know,
not so much.
That might help. I'm just gonna,
you give Alex a headache.
Come on, guys, you play VR.
I know, right? Yeah, deal with it. Love AspinDarkfire.
Yeah, you gotta have your Aspin legs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Oh, both of them.
Yeah, you
all right.
Both.
Wow.
The first laugh was like the sympathetic laugh, and then the second one was the true outcome of the whole situation. So anyway, the game is pronounced Demio, all right? And holy shit. Like, I was hyped about this game before it came out. I am especially hyped now that it's out. A, because we can talk about it, and B, because everyone seems to fucking love this, which is so rad, because that means we'll all be playing together for a while, I hope.
Yep. This game is freaking killer. It is killer. And so I was that guy that was not really into D&D growing up. I didn't have any friends that really played it. You know, it seemed very cumbersome and very difficult, and just to keep track of all the mana and the hit points and what was happening and the battles and the add-ons and the card. It just seemed like a pain in the ass, and I just would rather turn on a video game console. Now this game does it all for you, and it now makes it so people like me can now get into like a D&D dungeon crawler, something like that, right? Or a tabletop dungeon crawler like this, and really enjoy it. Just really, but you got to play this with friends. I feel like you got to play it because you have to strategize. You can't just go in there and willy-nilly this, like you're going to die. It's very, very difficult. So you got to really work with your team. Everyone's got to, be on the same page. You can't just go off and do your own thing. So I'm really enjoying this game. Love it.
What you think, AD?
Yeah, it is tremendous. There's so much about it that I love. And so I was watching Mateo311 play yesterday before I bought the game. I bought the game as soon as I watched him for like 5 minutes playing, and he made some like fantastic points. So I feel like everything I'm going to say is going to echo some of the things he said already. So definitely go check out like his gameplay. I haven't watched Gamertag's gameplay yet. There's a few other people want to watch the gameplay, but just it's like Dungeons and Dragons kind of light. It's almost more like what's that game that came out probably when we were all kids? It was in the 90s. It was like this little. It was like a tabletop board game, Hero Quest.
Mm-hmm. I always wanted to play
a lot of Hero Quest. Because it's very much, it's more like it's easy Dungeons and Dragons, but it is just so incredibly immersive. I love it. It's like you can jump in, you don't have to know all the rules. Exactly what Skiva said. You just get to play, and it feels so much great about it. I don't know. You guys talk about it, and I'll say what else I love about it. But
so this is, first of all, games like this are just like my bread and butter, right? Like if the characters have swords, shields, bows and arrows, and magic spells, there's a fucking good chance I am going to play that game. Like I just love that stuff, and especially because it so often provides such a good like platform or vessel for multiplayer teamwork cooperation kind of situations, right? Where like the warriors are there because they go up front and they have a role to fill. Like the RPG, it really is something beautiful when you do it socially. And that's what I've always loved about these games. Like maybe I don't like love swords. I don't love magic spells. I love how I feel when I'm connecting with people playing these kinds of games. And that's what's always brought me back. So Demio has made this accessible for a lot of people. And what I love about it right now is that, and this is also true of Cards and Tangers, which we just talked about the other day, but like these games are relaxing, like physically, right? Like I like chill in bed. I'm like lounging, like George Costanza propped up on the side, like sexy lounge status, and just like, like chilling, playing this game where in my mind the gears are like turning, and I'm like strategizing super hard. So mentally I'm insanely stimulated while I can relax and socialize at the same time, which is not something that is typical of the VR experiences that we play. Like Population 1, for example. You're climbing, you're flying, you're getting shot at. It's super crazy. Holy shit, this is so intense, but like Demio is intense, but not physically. Like I can just relax, and it all is happening up here. So that's one of the things that I absolutely love about this, is that I can chill, but I'm still fully engaged, and I'm doing it socially, and it feels great.
And to take that chill a step forward, right? So you play this game, you're standing at a table, everyone's standing around a table, and you're playing this game, but you can take that table, and if you want to like lay down in bed or chill on the couch, you can tilt it up. So then you can kind of lay down and just have it like right in your face, and you can just relax and play, right? And it can be, some of the stuff can be a little stressful, but like you said, it's all up here, right? You're not aiming down the barrel of a gun. You're not running around and climbing, right? You're trying to make the right decisions to not get you and your teammates killed while taking out the enemies and completing the objective. So this game is freaking good. It's good.
Yeah,
all day long.
And I want to unpack a bit about what makes it so interesting is the pace. So, or for me, what makes it interesting is the pace. A lot of MMOs, when they get a lot of RPGs, when they get transferred into console, it speeds up the action, which means if you play World of Warcraft, you're doing cool stuff and you turn to your buddy like, did you see that? Did you see I just hit that guy crit for 2,000? And everybody's like, well, no, man, I was staring at my grid doing healing. I didn't see that crit, or I didn't see how you tanked that. But this game, it's because it's turn-based, you get to see what happened to everybody. And it's such a good feeling. Me and Skiva were playing last night, and I played a card to increase the damage on a boss, and then I crit with this hit, and I was like, check that out. And I'm like, he saw that. The whole team saw that. And it's like everybody congratulates each other. And then every move is slowed down, and it's almost like you have that superpower. You can slow things down, think it through, make a decision. People are agreeing together, and it's you can't really play alone. I guess you could play alone, but it's so much fun just interacting with your friends on a slower pace.
That's a great point.
You're really with the people. So I love World of Warcraft, but sometimes it's the pace. And same with VR MMOs, which we should get into as well later after Demi they're trying to replicate, excuse me, and Matteo was talking about this at length. The VR MMOs are trying to basically replicate console MMOs or PC MMOs, right? The flat screen MMOs into VR, as opposed to taking advantage of what makes VR amazing, right? And now there's nothing against VR MMOs. They're going to be fabulous. I have so much fun with them, but they are basically trying to replicate the PC games, the flat screen PC games. I haven't seen them really take advantage of what makes VR special. Anyways, okay, there. But you guys can discuss amongst each other.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, dude, this is right up my alley, dude. And I think what you were saying about it being slowed down is a great point, because you're hitting the nail on the head. It is awesome to be able to share those epic moments with the team and have everybody be engaged and fully connected and present for everything that's happening. And it's doing so slowed down, right? But way fucking faster than on an actual tabletop. A tabletop game is really slow. The few times that I've been able to do D&D campaigns, you are there all day. It is an all day affair, 6 to 8 hours where you guys are trying to get through a dungeon, and maybe you do a couple of fights. Because everyone has to roll dice, everyone has to write down numbers, for all the combat and all this shit. And so Demio, of course, is much faster than anything that's been done on a tabletop. So I think they've found a good balance there, where they've slowed it down enough, right? But it's still way faster than typical traditional tabletop gaming, so it can still appeal to video gamers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Resolution Games, right? Resolution Games is behind this. So we know from their past titles that they're going to continue to support this. They're going to make it work as the best they can. They're going to patch it. They're going to work out any bugs. And it's Steam VR for your PC VR people, and it's Quest as well.
It looks
runs natively
good
on the Quest.
on the computer, by the way. The graphics look a lot better on the PC.
Oh, I haven't even tried the PC version yet.
I haven't either. I've just seen video, but side by side, it is
beautiful,
obvious.
Wow, but still,
I haven't tried it on Quest, but it is
gorgeous.
Absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous in Quest too. Yeah, it's gorgeous in Quest too. You can, so you see this whole table in front of you, but you can also zoom down and get all the way into the dungeon and watch these life-size creatures kind of battle it out as you make moves. So you have that huge, that scale that you can play with. You can get huge, you can get small. The world around you gets giant. You can really see all the details and the details of the characters and how they're fighting. And it's just very well done.
And that's what I mean by a beautiful use of VR. That scale thing, you couldn't really do that in real life well. I mean, you can put your head on the table, but just that zooming in, zooming out is so nice. And the characters being kind of look like miniatures, but they move. They actually it adds so much to it. I can't wait to see where this game goes. I think there's so much potential. I mean, the price tag, I think I paid $33 for a Canadian.
Yeah, it's a little steep.
It seemed, I mean, if I can get 10 hours of fun out of it, I think that's worth it. Especially if they do expand it. So
like
even
3
as
games.
it is, I'm already satisfied paying that much for this game because I think I'm going to have a ton of fun with it. But hopefully there's just more and more to come. Like it can, I don't know, like how many hours you guys have put in on. Alex, how many games have you played so far?
Well, I probably played like 4 or 5 before it came out, and I've probably played 4 since, 3 or 4.
So you're looking at 4 or 5. I'm gonna do some really quick math. I can't believe it's 20 hours of fun for $30,
right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you go to a movie, you're gonna spend $30, and it's gonna be 22. It's gonna be 2 hours, right? Like, So what the hell, man? This is what's up.
Yeah, it's really good, man.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it is definitely, like we said, not for the weak. Like you got to get in there, and this will test some friendships, I think.
Yeah,
you
sure,
know, because at a certain point you'll like people start making moves, right? And I've played stuff like this, you know. So like I'll watch somebody who's new to the game, and I see him making moves. I'm like, oh god, that is so not efficient, you know. Like, oh man, like no, I was gonna open the door, you just wasted your turn, you know. Like I'm like seeing people do this kind of stuff, and like there's a fine line between like helping and leading and like manhandling and like being controlling, you know. So it'll be interesting to see how group dynamics play out and stuff like this, because you really do need to think about each turn. Like if you're wasting your turn and just like fiddling around doing something that's not helping, then you could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, and not just think about yourself and your character and your move, but you have to think about all the players and what's going to happen to them, because if one of them gets taken out, you're probably not going to finish this game. You need all your people, right? And you know, I would not suggest this game to someone that goes into games solo. You know what I mean? Like I really do feel like because of that, what I just mentioned, it's going to be way better experience if you have friends you can work through this stuff with. Like I just can't imagine going in with randoms.
Also, you need a little time, dude. Like 2 hours, like minimum. 2 hour minimum for a session of Demio. And by the way, this trailer that we've been showing, their like first impressions trailer, there's some pretty awesome names in there. The fucking Romero clan from like the days of like Doom,
the pixel rip guys.
Carmack's old partner from id Software is in this video, and his wife. Like that's pretty
there's a lot it's a lot of good stuff going on in this video.
Look at that, John Romero.
Dude. Kaz and Sherry. There's great people in here, man. I mean, everyone really likes this game. Anyway, I guess we can stop jerking off to
like it's almost like we're advertising for them. It's amazing.
It's great.
I work for
We're not the only ones that think it either. Like I think what is it? Road to VR reviewed it and gave it a 5 out of 5, or Upload. One of those two reviewed it and gave it like a 5 out of 5 rating, which I guess is pretty rare. So anyway, if you guys want to play it,
and they've already announced an expansion already,
which is
have they? Second, I guess the second quest or whatever.
Yeah, like the Rat King or something like that. So tell me a little bit about Zenith The Last City, because you've been playing this game in the alpha, and so a lot of people have been playing this game actually already in the alpha, and I haven't really pushed to get access, but now I'm starting to feel like I fucked up. So like am I missing out right now or what?
That's a good question. Are you missing out? It's so similar like an MMO alpha. When you jump in, there's I might get some heat for this. There's not a ton to do. Like what they're missing from a VR MMO at this stage, I think, is the story. That's why I go to an MMO. Is I want friends and a good story. What they have right now is the world and some of the mechanics and the leveling. You can run around and do some quests and grind, and that's a lot of fun just to kind of play around with it. But like I put in a few hours, and I feel like okay, I feel like I want to wait until it's ready. Like I want to see this game complete. I don't want to spend too much time in the alpha. But it is very cool. I don't know if you were involved in. I can't remember, Alex. Were you in the Alyx, like the pre alpha days?
Yes.
Yeah. Similar idea. Like you can wander around, you can explore. You can go. Actually, I mean, Zenith is quite a bit further ahead. But of course, Alyx was like pre alpha at that stage.
Right.
But I don't know, that's my impression. I know, again, and I keep on referring to Mateo just because I've been interacting with this stuff a lot more lately, but like he's absolutely loving it. Like that dude, he's been in there for so long, and he's loving the vibes. I was in there with him for 2 hours, and we had so much fun together. But then I don't feel the draw to go back until they get some more stuff in it. Mechanics wise, it's very interesting. Cyberpunk, the gun shooting is pretty cool. The healing mechanics are kind of neat. It's not quite the trifecta tank, healer, DPS, but it's very close. Like the healers can do some damage, but I think it's gonna, you're gonna see those roles come out and that sort of thing. But I mean, please ask me questions about it, because I feel like I'm just kind of rambling on without really describing much.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much what I was trying to hear.
Okay.
I like I said, I wasn't exactly in a hurry, kind of for the same reasons that you are, right? Like I went into the Elysia alpha and I was like, okay, cool, but where's the rest of it? And I don't want to feel that way when I go into this. So I was like not in a hurry to jump in there and like just soak up everything, because like when I go get a lay of the land, and then next time I come in when it releases, there's just like an extra layer on top of it with like some NPCs walking around and shit, and like people to talk to and like quests I get. I mean, like cool and all, but like I would rather absorb it fully, like I avoid spoilers as much as I can, honestly. And that's almost like one huge spoiler going into an alpha of an MMO like that.
Yeah,
it is. It really. I think alphas for MMOs are exactly that. Like you want that polish because you want that joy of discovery. Like I want to be the first time I go in there is when I find out that that boat that is over there I can climb. I don't want to find out before the alpha when it's almost done. It's not quite textured, and
right.
That's my feeling. I mean, it's looking really good though.
So here's the question: is this gonna
potential?
The question then, I guess, is based on what you're seeing. Like, is this gonna be something that people do?
Oh, I think so. I think they're going to have a community around it, for sure. I mean, already there's a lot of people jumping in and playing and enjoying it. I think it ticks a lot of the boxes. It's like Orbis, but a little bit more gritty is not the right word, but a little more mature. Like when I played Orbis, I felt like I was like Rec Room plus. Like.
Right.
Again, I hope I don't get any hate for that. Orbis is fantastic. I think they're doing a great job. But again, it was quite complicated. It felt more like a kid's game to some degree. Orbis feels, Zenith feels like it might be a bit more grown up, like a bit more, not grown up, that's the wrong word. But you know what I mean? Like your characters have legs. That's cool.
Right.
I like having legs in VR. That kind of makes it more immersive, And I'm hoping to see a lot more. Like some of the characters look a bit more gritty in there. Like they look like, angry, snake things with swords and stuff. So we'll see. I think what really is gonna make a difference is whether they can force people to want to play together. Because I mean, that's what MMOs are about, right? Building teams of players, having parties, like a reason to be together. And this is where that trifecta comes in with the tank, healer, and DPS. If people can do everything on their own, then they may tend to solo that, which is fine. A lot of people love playing solo. But I think if you're an MMO with lots of people, you want to force some sort of rules so that you need people to play together. You sort of like, you have to rely on people. I think that makes it more intriguing, right? If you have to cooperate. Like if I can heal myself, why do I want a healer?
Right.
That's one of the things. So I know some people hate on the trifecta. I think it's a tried and true mechanic that's been working great. In some RPGs that have veered away from it, they tend to become more like solo oriented games. That's how I feel about it anyways. I'm sure there's a lot of other opinions on that. I don't know. What do you guys think of the trifecta? Like what's your take on it? It's been around since, I don't know, like the 60s, right?
Yeah.
70s maybe?
I love it. And I mean, I feel like I love that. I think it's great. I mean, I don't necessarily think you need the trifecta, right? Because you have something like Demio, for example, who uses a 4-class system, and it's not exactly tank, healer, DPS, because nobody's a healer, so it's more like ranged melee tank support, and everyone can heal, and that's like the quadrifecta. I don't know. So it doesn't necessarily have to be those three, but I just think a balanced party system is what is most important. If they can manage to execute the party system in a balanced way, that like maybe one of those classes is like the crowd control class, like they're the ones that can freeze everything, stun everything, slow down time. The other guys are the ones that can hit something from really far away, and then the other guys that can do damage from up close. Maybe those rules will kind of flesh out, naturally based on the VR mechanics. I don't know, we'll see. But I guess in any case, I'm not in a huge hurry to get in there. You know, I think I would like to probably experience it a little naturally myself.
So I really want to see how they balance combat in a VR MMO, like the hacking and slashing versus the casting, because it's going to be very strange to balance that, because it's going to depend a lot on like how fast can you swing your arm, like how do you rate limit that. I'm really interested in seeing how they use the VR mechanics for those sorts of things, right? Like you know, because I mean, when you're playing WoW, you're looking at, okay, if I cast these 5 spells in this order at this time, and I'm going to get the maximum DPS. Well, what if good play in a VR MMO means you have to be able to swing your arm across your body at a certain speed? Like that's going to be a weird limiting factor to being a good player. So I'm interested to see like what are they going to do about that? Like how do they balance those sorts of things? I'm sure lots of people are thinking a lot about it. Like in Orbis, like pulling back that bow, it's like, well, I could do this, or I could do a caster, which feels a little bit easier to cast and do high damage than having to keep pulling back that bow. I don't know what people think about that. What do you think, Skiva? Like Alex, like what's your take on that sort of like how do you use VR mechanics to make the MMO experience more appealing and more interesting?
I think
but also balanced.
I think balance is honestly on the back burner. I think people are more concerned about their expression when they're in VR, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm a ranger. God damn it. You know, no, I am a tank, you know, like they're not like, oh, how can I get the most amount of damage out of this game? They're like, hey, how can I be a tank in VR? You know, like how can I be a rogue in VR? So I think the expression is kind of at the forefront right now, or at least I think that's from my perspective it is. I would be worried less about whether or not my class is overpowered or underpowered, and more about, is this the class that I feel the best performing as, you know? So as far as like that. I don't know how to balance it though, to answer your question.
But I know I love that perspective that VR is, and that's where VR shines, is right. The immersion, the storytelling, that sort of thing is. I hope that's the type of people get attracted to that sort of game. That it's not about high DPS numbers. It's more about, you know, did I enjoy that session? Like, did I, you know, build a bond with these people who I'm with, who are experiencing this with me? I mean, I would love to see that. I'd love to see a lot more role playing. Right? Like next time I play Demio, I want to do a little bit of role playing there. I want to like talk like my character and then get more involved in that scene. Now with the Population 1, what I'm seeing is very quickly it became, you know, how do you get the most kills? Like what is the strategy to get the most kills, to get the highest on the leaderboard? Which weapon is the best one to use? And the other weapons start not getting used. Now the Population 1 team, Big Box, is doing a great job of like changing things up every once in a while so it doesn't get stagnant. But as soon as they change them up, everybody's like, okay, what's the best loadout I need? And then you're going to see a bunch of guys wearing that loadout. Or how do I wall peak the best?
Right.
Like, you know, they're looking for strategies that are making the game. It kind of makes the game feel a little stale because everybody starts doing the same strategy because they're trying to optimize for the kills.
I feel like that's like a result of a population with a lot of people in it, you know, or a community with a lot of people in it. Like once a lot of people start showing up, that's when these things kind of start to become hot topics of conversation, because so many people are engaging in conversation, and ultimately those are the questions that just like get pushed to the top, and people want to get better. They play so much time, they spend so much time playing the game, they love it, but then they keep losing, and they're like, dude, all right, just give me the strongest gun.
And it has gotten really competitive over the last little while. Like I find the last couple of weeks have become really competitive. There was a time when like I was going into matches and, you know, often I would win and, you know, I was having a good time. Not always, but it was often. Now I find I'm getting to matches where people are like the new people coming in because the community is expanding, just amazing players. And I mentioned before, like my son started playing, and he picked up on it so incredibly quick. Like he surpassed me in skill level within no time. And maybe it's because I'm old, but it's just like the new players coming to Population 1 are really good. And I feel like there's some of the players that have been around a bit are starting to see themselves, you know, fall in the standings. Like they're not playing as well, not because the game got harder, but because the competition got a lot more intense. Which is I enjoy it. It's fun, but yeah, I have a lot harder time landing the wins these days than I used to.
So I want to use an opportunity here while I feel like it's here to shift gears a little bit. And before we get into another topic of conversation, we should talk about some free stuff that we gave away.
Oh, right. Yes.
I think that
we
would be a
should.
good idea.
Yes.
So last episode, we attempted to give away the first issue of VR Trend magazine signed by the creators live on the show, and Skiva is incompetent and can't fucking put
Fired
together a
again.
giveaway.
And fired again.
Can't put together a podcast to save his life. So, we apologize.
You son of a...
Yeah. So we apologize for Skiva's incompetence, but luckily he has redeemed himself. He actually went through the live chat, pulled everybody's name out, dumped it into a different giveaway, puller, outer, over. And
Yes.
and
the winner is Hussein X.
Holy
Hey,
shit.
Yay! And I don't see him here in chat, and we have messaged him on Discord, so hopefully he shows up to claim his prize soon.
Hussein X, you have
1
3
week.
days. No, you've already had a week.
Oh, that's true.
You have 3 days, Hussein X. You hear us? If you don't respond within 3 days, somebody else is
Getting your shit, so you fucking better show up and come get your magazine.
Wow. Okay, well, that was scary.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Just-
Like you can't see my actual expression, but I am terrified. Right
Come
now.
I would probably run away if I was Hussein X and not contact
Come
us.
get your magazine, Hussein X. And then we also gave away a entire full fucking cyber shoes kit.
Yes.
The shoes, the booties, the seat, the carpet, like every single thing you need for cyber shoes. It was in this giveaway, and we've pulled a winner for it. Skiva.
Yes, so the winner for that is Andrew Ingram. And you know what's super interesting about this is Andrew is disabled, and he uses VR and things in VR peripherals to keep himself healthy enough to not need his wheelchair. So this is
wow.
big, man. Like, I feel like I'm so
Wow.
excited for this guy to get these shoes, because he's going to be like exercising and playing games, and it's actually making a real difference. It's going to make a difference in this guy's life,
That is, dude,
right?
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is the story. That's the ending to this story that you could only dream of being the case. And I assume you didn't pick him based on that.
No, man, I didn't know his story until I just picked a random winner, and then I had the program pick the winner, and then I contacted him, and he told me the whole story, and I was like, oh man, that's great, man.
Wow. Well, that's so good. I mean, because the giveaways are pretty basically open to anyone, and somebody could get these and be like, oh, cool, throw them on the shelf, boom, that's it. Like, yeah, here's another part of my collection, but like zero use, whatever. And it's definitely feels great to know that it's going to somebody that has a true practical use and application, and not just like, hey, this looks cool, but like, yo, this is the kind of shit I need in my life. You know what I mean? That's really awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of, so you did mention that I go to push buttons and then I lose my train of thought, but
You normally do great.
So you did mention that anyone is open to enter these giveaways, right? Whether they are normal viewers and they're here every week or not. But one of the things I want to do is I do want to make sure, just like we did with the VR Trend magazine giveaway, that we do have giveaways that are exclusive to the people, the hardcore viewers that are here every week in chat and that are supporting our show and our Patreons and blah blah blah, right? So I feel like if you stay tuned, there may be another Cyber Shoes giveaway coming, maybe just for our people.
Whoa.
So we'll see.
So that's like super high chances of winning.
Yes. Yes,
right now,
because nobody watches our show.
Yeah, because right now there's like 5 people. No, but because we do have an intimate community, is what I would call it. Yeah,
we do.
See, that's
we have
right.
an intimate community.
You come to me when you want to word something and make it sound better than it is.
And I usually do. That's why you write the descriptions.
That's not what we did with your description, AD. Don't worry. You made it sound as good as you are.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I want to touch on that because there's something about this show that it's all the people you want to talk to in chat. Like every time I come, I look at who's there, and it's like you recognize this person, this person, this person. Like they're the people who are influencing the community, and it's fantastic. Like I think your show just it hits that segment that I love to interact with.
Thanks,
so
man.
thank you guys. Thank you for putting up the show, even if it's not drawing 1 million subscribers. Like, this is what people need to talk about. This is the kind of stuff, like when you go from your show from one week to the next, that the variety of guests and the topics you get onto, that's the kind of thing that people are thinking about, right? Like that's what they should be talking about, as opposed to just like, how do I win the most population 1 games?
Yeah. Well, hell, man, thank you. I really appreciate that. I love our show too. I'm probably our biggest fan. I wear all our merch. It's fucking great. But no, I do appreciate that feedback. That's pretty awesome. And I love everyone that's here. To me, this is like every Friday I get to hang out with all my buddies. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not really a show. It's a hangout session with all these amazing people. And every week we get to talk to someone new and exciting. And please do subscribe. Please. It means the world to us. So subscribe, like, ring the bell. Any button you see on YouTube, just hit it.
We do want to see the community grow, but at the same time, we would continue to do this if it never grew by another subscriber. Yeah. Like this is already like fulfilling and satisfying enough for me that it is not about the popularity. Frankly, it's about the opportunity to connect with amazing people like yourself, sir. AspinDarkfire, I'm looking at you. You know you can't tell, but I am. So so I think this is a good segue because I want to get into kind of like.
But before we say, I'm sorry, I broke your segue. I did want to mention because I saw Mepper mention it, and what the terrible community manager would I be for Cyber Shoes if I didn't mention there's only 3 days left on the Indiegogo for the Cyber Shoes for the Quest. These things are already shipping, right? So if you don't have a PC and you do want to get into these, you can do so right now for a really discounted price. And there's only 3 days left. So anyway.
Well, I hope it was worth it. All right.
I think that was a good segue. I'm happy with that segue. I can't wait to heir Alex's segue. I mean, it better be
that
better
I ruined.
Than that.
All right, so after the Cyber Shoes commercial, I'll switch gears here into kind of what
Mepper made me do it.
Yeah. Well, if it was for Mepper, frankly, I'm allowing it. Anything for Mepper. All right, so what's up, Laszlo216? Algorithm engagement alert. I love your content. Wow, thank you.
Awesome.
We love your
Thanks so much.
presence here with us at the show today.
Heck yeah.
So I kind of themed today's show around the idea of identity online, right? Because it kind of kicked up an interesting conversation when we're talking about getting an image of AspinDarkfire for our thumbnail, and if he's going to show up on the show as himself or as an avatar, right? And at the root of all of that, I think, is a conversation about identity and about expression. And I talk often about expression, and that word I use pretty loosely. It kind of is a multifaceted word, and there's a lot of different forms of expression, right? Like playing Beat Saber is expression. When I'm playing a BTS song, which, by the way, the BTS pack, Beat Saber, fucking great. It feels so good. It's like dancing, like where the blocks are, like really has you like vibing hard on the music, and it is fantastic. And there's expression there. I feel like I'm doing something. I'm feeling it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like hitting it. There's a lot of expression in it. But that's different than the expression of someone who, dresses up as like a gender that's different than the one that they're born in and goes into VR chat and, pretends to be a girl when they're a boy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's a different form of expression. Now, this is someone who has decided that they want to present themselves as this and they want to, vibe on this for a while. And maybe that doesn't match who they are in the real world. And VR, oftentimes, I think a lot of people use it as a way to express themselves in different ways, but then it kind of starts to hit home a little bit because oftentimes people aren't able to separate the you that's like the meat bag sitting there behind the computer screen and the avatar that you're choosing to present. It's almost like you've chosen this new version of yourself now this is you know what I mean? And like everyone wants to attach, some people want to attach identities, like your whole identity, to individual expressions of yourself that you're choosing to put forward. And all of this kind of just like kicks up this big, messy kind of like situation or conversation, I guess, where it can be hard to navigate. So I thought that this would be a good conversation to have with AspinDarkfire because he, as he mentioned earlier on the show, kind of feels like he is able to express himself more in an avatar form than he is in real life. So maybe you can just talk about a little bit of your personal experience in this world, and then maybe give us a little bit of perspective, on like the meta.
Sure. So I mean, and I can't remember if I was talking to you guys or I was talking on the show when I mentioned this. When they reached out for a picture of me, I was like, well, yeah, but that me, that actual picture of my real face, I don't feel like that represents me in this context. In fact, the more I'm in VR, the more time I spend with different avatars, the less I feel like I'm associated with my physical self. Like, it's almost like, why does the world have to view me with like the color hair I have? Like I could dye my hair, right? This is like kind of an extension of that, is people trying to change or modify the way it looks so that they're more comfortable. And this is the me I'm right now more comfortable with. For a little while ago, I was rocking a blue avatar out of
Altspace.
Altspace, yeah. I was really enjoying that avatar. That felt a little bit like me. Unfortunately, it does raise questions. Everybody thought that the color I chose was trying to make some sort of racial statement. I just like blue. That's all it was.
I thought you were a fan of the Smurfs.
Smurfs, exactly. That's the simple. The simple
Damn it!
like
I gotta figure out which one's the laugh and which one's the crickets, because you deserved crickets for that. I hit you with the laugh track, and I'm pissed. And that was supposed to be crickets all day.
But there's also the so right off the bat, when early on me and Alyx started playing video games together, and this isn't really that long ago, I had to say to him, hey man, I play a female World of Warcraft character. That's just me comfortably. Like, it has nothing to do with my sexuality or anything. It's just I like playing a female World of Warcraft character. That's why I associate myself with when I'm in that world. And he was totally, of course, okay with that. Like most people, a lot of people seem to accept that when you're playing MMOs. That, well, yeah, so what? You play as a, it's just an avatar, right? Same with the VR chat. If you go into VR chat, I tend to use a male avatar just because I found some I like. You run into female avatars. You run into people who want to be, animals, bananas, whatever they want to associate with. And I love that you can disassociate who you are physically with who you are mentally. Because, I mean, we all live in this conscious construct, right? Like, it's whatever is real in my mind, and that's what makes VR so immersive. I'm not expressing this properly, but when you're in virtual reality, like, that is my reality at that time, because my brain's interpreting those signals, and this is me. Like, I am sitting in this area with like a truck over there and the cement. This feels very real to me. Like, this is where I am right now, and my mind doesn't know the difference. Right. Well, it does know the difference on a certain level, but you know what I mean? If that truck started driving at me really fast right now, I would freak out. Because my brain, my animal brain, would be like, get the hell out of the way. There's a truck coming at you, even though, at a meta level, I know that there's no truck there. Anyways, I went off, but so it's let's talk more about identity, because I love it. Like, how do you guys identify yourselves when you're in VR? Like, do you think of yourselves as, I'm Skiva, or I'm Harry, or I'm like how do you guys identify yourselves when you're in VR?
What's weird is, and I don't know if this has to do with age. I feel like there's a lot of different things that go into this, right? When I go into an experience, a social experience, for some reason, I always try to make the avatar look as much like me as possible. A lot of people, maybe it's because I'm an old man and I'm like so stuck on what I am that like it's hard to change. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like I identify with me more as the closest I can look like me in the game. But I know a lot of people that don't want to look anything like themselves, right? They don't even want to look like a human. It could go either way. What about you?
I struggle with this. I do. My instinct is to make something that looks like me, because I identify typically with the physical body that I see in my reflection when I look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. So when someone's like, okay, make yourself, or, make this version of yourself that you are now choosing, that you will now identify with, my instinct is to typically go to make something that looks like me. In the few times that I didn't, I remember growing up and like making an avatar in a game and being like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna go crazy with this one. I felt like I didn't identify with the character as much as after I'd gotten started. Maybe it would like there was the excitement of the first day. It's like, oh, that's cool. I've got pink hair now. Yeah, this is awesome. But then like day 7 or 8, I'm like, man, like who is this pink haired motherfucker? Like I don't know who that guy is. Like I don't identify with that. Like what was I thinking? But
yeah,
nowadays it's a little different. Like initially that's my instinct, but nowadays I think I can see the benefit of alternate expression when it comes to like physically embodying something. But I don't have like any pull, right? Like I think a lot of people, the answer is very obvious for them, especially like the furry community. Like one day you're cruising around online and then you click on a furry website and you're like, bing, holy fuck, that's everything I've ever wanted. Like answer, there it is, I'm a furry now. Like, and when you go into VR chat, you're gonna pay $500 for your custom furry avatar, because that's how you feel. Like it just like clicked, boom, answer. But I'm in a position where I would love to have an avatar that I could take into Neos or VR chat, but the pressure of deciding what that would actually be, especially when I have to spend money to get it, like I can't get that for free. So if I'm going to spend money to get an avatar designed for myself, or maybe I only get one, right? Maybe somebody will buy it for me, but I only get one, so it's like, okay, so what's that going to be? Like that, there's a lot of pressure for that. And I guess, there's the future of course, having multiple avatars and expressing myself in all of them. But right now, as an avatar-less virtual reality adventurer, I struggle between like finding something that is recognizable as me or something that, I don't know, allows me to express myself differently. But at the moment, I feel okay with expressing myself as me. And I'm in a position now where I've put myself on camera in an effort to be recognized as me. So if I'm in VR, unless I'm trying to be incognito or something, it would probably make sense that I'm as recognizable as possible.
Do either one of you think that maybe that people being able to recognize your human body, this meat bag vehicle that we use while we're in this existence, do you think that maybe you are able to especially in where we are content creators, right? We go online and we put all this stuff out there, right? And we want people to subscribe, and we do want people, because we want to be able to succeed. We don't want to put stuff out there for no one to watch, right? But I almost feel like as a human, people may identify with us better and have that more of a stable connection to you because you're humanified, right? As opposed to maybe if Aspin, maybe if people only ever saw you as an avatar, right? Walking away from your content or whatever the case may be might be easier because they don't have that human connection with you. To them, you are a digital thing. Right?
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think so. No, because there are a few people who I know only as avatars, right? Like that Tom Clancy show, or
yes.
or my buddy Turk, who is one of the moderators over at Neos VR. You remember Turk?
Yep.
Did you meet him? Mm-hmm. He's like this weird robot kind of dude. He's a unique avatar. I've never seen anybody that looks like him. I've only met him as his avatar. And if all of a sudden Turk wasn't a part of Neos and I went in there and I couldn't get in touch with him, I'd be like, oh. Like, fuck, Turk? Like, no. I recognize his avatar. And I don't think that I'm, like, missing out, even though it is kind of...
But then what if he switches his avatar? Does that...
I think if he switched his avatar, it would probably take me a little getting used to. Yeah, there would probably be, like, an acclimation period, almost like a haircut, I guess.
Okay.
What are you thinking about, AD?
I can make this conversation just a little bit more uncomfortable.
Oh, sweet.
And you'd be surprised at how to make it uncomfortable. What about changing your voice? People get really awkward about you changing your voice. So they'll say, yeah, you go ahead. If you want to be a female avatar, if you want to be, a dog, if you want to be whatever you want. Doesn't matter. But if you change your voice to sound like a female, I don't like that.
You don't like that?
Not me personally.
Come on,
but I've run into some awkwardness where people just don't like you or don't think you should be able to change your voice, because then it becomes misleading, right? Like if you have a female avatar but a male voice, I know that, that's probably Alyx. But if Alyx has a female voice, all of a sudden it's almost like he's trying to mislead me into thinking he's female, even though in VR, there's no context in which we are going to reproduce. But still, it feels weird, right? Like,
interesting.
That is interesting.
Why So what do you guys think about, like, how would you feel if I came onto the show and I modified my voice to sound like a female?
Well, I think it's interesting. We see a lot of people in games like in massive multiplayer online games, you know, we see people in Population 1 changing their voice. We see people in VR chat and alt space with voice changers. And I don't know. I mean, when I see someone as I guess a female character, I kind of just automatically think, well, maybe I guess my brain is just like female, right? You see someone that's a female and you're like, that must be a female. But I don't, so I don't think it's, to me, I feel like if you're going to change your look, I mean, what's the difference with changing your voice too?
And I like that. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, I guess it's a no answer. I don't know, but I like that answer because that's how the way it should be. Like, I can change my appearance. I should be able to change my voice to whatever I want. What if I change my voice to sound like a 5-year-old kid?
That's an interesting question, dude. And here's another one, Quicksilver, because it's like if one voice change is okay, it seems like they should all be okay, right? And Quicksilver said she used to change her voice to not sound like a girl. Which
that's a good one too.
But now that one is like easy to wrap your head around. It's like, oh yeah, well, duh, you know, because being a girl in a predominantly male community, you get a lot of unnecessary, unwanted attention. You're just trying to play the game. Yeah, boom, go for it. You know. So wait, if you have a problem with a different one, I mean, well, I don't know, but then you said like, what if you try to sound like a 5-year-old kid? And it's like, it really, I don't know. I guess does it come down to the intention? Like, is it the intention? Because if your intention is to mislead, that's a problem. But I don't know. But what if your intention is
it's a role play or express?
So
right?
what if your intention is to express as a 5-year-old?
It's a weird question, right? Like, it seems like I think there's an element of vulnerability. For some reason, we feel like if a female takes on a male voice, it's to sort of, like you say, it's to make them feel more comfortable, to protect themselves. They don't feel like, you know, they're going to get harassed. If a male takes on a female voice, like, well, you know, even though, again, there's no sexuality, there's no reason for me to think that, you know, I'm going to have some sort of intimate relationship with this person, but I would feel deceived if I thought they were a female and it turned out to be male, even though I shouldn't. I shouldn't feel deceived, but I do feel deceived. And again, if it's a child, like, you know, I play Population 1 with a lot of kids. At first, I was like, it's almost weird. Like, it's a weird scenario, right? If I were to go to the park, now, bear with me here, because it's being recorded. If I go to the park and there's a bunch of 5-year-olds playing, and I just walked in and started playing with them, like just hung out, started kicking the ball around, parents would be like, ooh, why? What's his intention there? Why is he playing with those little? That's out of place. That is really strange. And there may be some assumptions that there's some sort of malicious intent. But I jump into Pop 1. I'm playing with 11-year-old kids, and it's nothing. It's no big deal.
Right.
It doesn't faze me. It's like, you know, but some people might find that a little weird. Like, why? Like, in that context, like, so we're just not used to the idea of adults playing with kids. Anyways, go ahead.
I think I'm getting there.
Kind of ripping here, but that's where I think it gets really strange.
No, your riffing helps me lead to conclusions. This is what we do. Okay. That's what a conversation is, and I'm 100% for all of it. So I'm sitting here, and I'm starting to think about this, and I think it comes down to vulnerability, because I was vulnerable, right? Like, I was open to engaging in a relationship with you, and I was being authentic. Right? I was expressing myself authentically, and you were not expressing yourself authentically, yet the connection that we made was real, right? Like, as far as I knew, I was connecting authentically with another person. So I was vulnerable during that exchange, but you got to hide behind something. You got to be behind some kind of wall, or you got to be someone else and choose not to reveal who you are. And now I feel betrayed because I was vulnerable and you were not.
Right. So I guess the question comes to, so you feel betrayed, but then we go back to, does it matter what the voice box, like my physical voice, like I could modify it physically. I could, you know, I'm simplifying, right? But I could cut out my voice box and change it and modify it or whatever like that. And then would it be less deceiving because instead of using a voice changer, a physical voice changer, I changed like my body to then have a different sounding voice? I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but this is where I'm trying to think, like, why do you feel deceived when, if that's how I represent myself, right? That's how I see myself, then isn't that okay that that's the way you see me, even if it's not like what my physical voice is capable of doing? Again, I don't think I'm expring this right. I have this like big idea in my head and it's like coming out like gibberish.
I think I know what you're saying. And I agree with you, but I don't think there's any way to not feel that way on the receiving end of it. You know, like
right now, though, right? VR is brand new. All this stuff is kind of brand new. 50 years from now, will we even go out into public and meet people in real life, or will we only do it in VR? Right? We got things like
we'll
the
definitely still meet people.
Well, but you know what I mean. Will you go out and have an actual interaction in a party after a global pandemic wiped out a bunch of the population, right? You're gonna feel safer. You can't, transmit disease across digital, platforms. You can be who you want. The appearance that you choose is always consistent to what you want it to be when you are in an online environment, right? So I mean, I guess this is all because this whole medium maybe is so new as well. Maybe it's a little bit harder to figure out. Maybe our opinions will also change as this becomes more and more common to replace yourself with an avatar.
Well, and I think the difficulty of doing it in real life makes it like we just don't deal with it very often. Like, I think we've become accustomed to if someone changes the color of their hair, I mean, that's cool, right? If you want to, if you have blonde hair, you want to have black hair, no big deal. But because other things are harder to do, we're not really accustomed to it, right? So, I mean, we can go into a really weird one. What if someone decide they want to change the color of their skin? Like, not in VR, but actual in real life. Like
Michael Jackson,
I want to change the color of my skin. That's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. In fact, I mean, there's a lot of there are celebrities who have gone through like almost like being canceled for coming across as being slightly like their skin tone being different than what they actually is, right? In VR, that should be not a big deal, right? I should be able to have blue skin, pink skin. Now, if I have a darker shade of skin, then people get a little uncomfortable. They're like, well, wait a second. Are you really, is that your skin tone or not? It's like, well, I'm not this white either. Like, I'm actually a little bit tanned. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain things that are just so taboo. But if they were easy to do in real life, if you could literally, like, if everybody had a choice of skin color, the second they turn like 5 years old, they could just, pick what skin color they have in real life. I mean, you'd probably see a variety of different skin colors, and then it'd be, because it's so easy to change, society would have to just accept it like that. It's just, it's no longer you're not forced to be of a certain skin tone. Now, skin tone is the most controversial one, but I mean, we already do that with our hair. We can do it with eyes and contacts. Like as it progresses, it should become easier and easier to change more of your features really rather quickly. Go ahead.
We're getting to a point too in real life where at some point we're going to be presented with the ability to, when we have a child, to maybe remove possibilities and genes for diseases, but also choose an eye color, choose a hair color, maybe make someone a little taller. So then we're going to get into a lot of these things in real life. So I kind of think maybe this is pretty important that we go through all of this as a society with our digital selves first, because I think in real life we're going to start being presented with these things. It's already doable. It's just the morality of it, is not comfortable.
It's a great place to think about it. VR is a great place to think these things through because of how easy it is to change your appearance and change all this stuff. But yeah, I think there's so many weird problems that we have to cope with.
It's not
as far
easy.
As that's concerned.
It is not easy. Like we've posed some insanely difficult questions to answer here, and it's like, I don't see a clear path. Like when it comes to like, is it okay for me to pretend like I'm 5 online? Like that kind of question is so fucking hard to answer, because technically there's like, I don't know, there's like no real victims, right? So why do we feel like we've been victimized when all of a sudden you've been catfished? Like catfish has like a negative connotation, It's like, oh, I got catfished. Like someone presented themselves as something that they weren't. And I think maybe this is a point that I was trying to make earlier. I think the level of your relationship is insanely important in that conversation, right? Like if it's all surface level, if like I'm just joining random games at Call of Duty and pretending to be 5 the whole time I'm in there and people are reacting to me, I don't see the harm in that, right? Like no one's been deceived, no one's been led on, but if all of a sudden we become friends and like we've been talking for 6 months and this whole time I've just been assuming that you're a young kid and you've been a fucking old man the whole time, like that that I think is where those feelings start to get kicked up. It's like, wait a second, dude. Like, we've been talking for this long, and I've been vulnerable, right, that whole time, and you've just been like, this has been like a facade, or like, you know, or this is just an expression of yourself that's not true to, like, you have multiple expressions. How many versions of you are there? You know, like, it's like you just feel like they had the opportunity to give you the full picture and never gave it to you. Meanwhile, you've been giving, you know, a relative full picture of the situation, and I don't know. I just don't. It's
it is. It's so many rabbit holes you could go down, right? Because in all reality, this avatar isn't you either. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's very weird.
Excited, like just the touching those things just makes me so excited to talk about that kind of stuff. Because you're right, like, I mean, my consciousness is sitting inside this meat bag, but it doesn't have to be inside this meat bag. It could be inside of something else, right? Like it's so.
Well, it is, and it is for all intents and purposes. When you're there in population 1, your consciousness is fully transferred into that space.
Exactly.
Or if you're playing, and frankly, if you are finding like a flow state in anything, your consciousness is like transcending. You know, like that's why it's represented as like that. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Soul, but like they represent. I frankly hate this representation, but that's why they do it, because they represent like the place between life and death as being in the flow state, and like there are people who like travel there just by like getting into a flow state activity, and I'm just like. I was cringing, honestly. A lot of people love that movie though, so I don't mean to shit on it.
Never even heard of it.
It's a Disney Pixar movie.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, flow state is that fucking thing, right? So it's like when I'm playing Magic the Gathering, like, and the two of us sitting at that table are agreeing that all of those things are happening, and like he plays a card and like, oh my god, like I react to it, like everything there that we are saying is happening is 100% actually taking place on some realm of reality, you know, like it is literally happening. Like our brains are manifesting it right then and there by contributing our consciousness energy towards it. That sounded fucking new age as fuck. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the there. Real quick, I just want to say hi. We got some people popping in the chat. We got Mateo311. We got Rendered Reality. We have Paradise Decay. PD. Rendered Reality said, "Did I miss anything? Because they got here late." And
you missed. You missed a fucking hour of the show. What do you mean? Did I miss something?
Crisis.
Smash everything.
Smash mentioned that Smash mentioned that he missed us. He missed me dancing on the table, and I am not going to do that again. That was super awkward and weird.
You got to get here early if you want to see that kind of shit.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Truth.
So what's up, guys?
Where do we go from here, man?
That's where do we go?
I mean,
what's the next topic?
Well, what really sucks is that I don't feel like I'm any closer to having a grip on any of this shit. You know, like
but and I think this is where we just got to explore more. Like I think this was a test for me, an exploration of how, you know, I could interact with your audience from an avatar. And I mean, you have guests before that have been an avatar, so it's nothing new. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is actually a pretty crappy representation because my arms aren't quite working right. but I'd love to hear the feedback. Like what do people think about it? They think, oh, why is that guy hiding behind an avatar? Like, I want to know what that, you know, old guy looks like or whatever. But I mean, if you go to my really old videos, you can actually find pictures of me. But the whole point of it is like, does this work? Like, can I do this? Can I start representing myself like this? And at what point am I going to be able to do this for like a work meeting? Like my colleagues at work, they're going to insist they see the real me. I'll be like, is there a point in time in the not too distant future where I can say, yeah, no, that's private information. You can see my avatar because that's where I'm comfortable. That's where I identify.
Yeah, I think privacy is dying a horrible death right now.
Yeah, I could definitely go on.
Well, let's dip into the chat then, okay? Let's see what people think, because I do think this is a very interesting and somewhat controversial topic. We're talking about online representations, and is it okay to present yourself as something, maybe a different gender, a different age group, that you're not, you know? And is there a line, right? Like, because I'm right now, I'm like in this space where I feel like it's okay until it's not, right? Like it's okay until you take it too far, until you connect intimately with someone and like I mean, I don't know, but then I start to challenge that. So I don't know that. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
so I'm going to read a few
one.
things out of chat and like, let's see what we have here. So I saw something good. So Smashed Reality, and I hope you weigh in against Smashed Reality on this because I need your follow-up, says, I take for granted that when I join a game, I just have a regular guy voice. No one cares about me. And that's interesting. So you say you take for granted. So does that mean you think it's a good thing? Like, are you glad that you have a regular guy voice? So that way, when you go into a lobby, you don't get any extra attention. People don't really care. Or do you wish that maybe you were expressing yourself and you had a voice that was able to, I don't know, make something happen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, because if a female voice gets a lot of extra attention, Robyn and Quicksilver have mentioned that in the chat today too. Yeah. It's like you just go in there and all of a sudden, boom, people start mentioning shit.
And person saying, what you said originally too is what's your intent? Is your intent to deceive someone, or is your intent just to feel more like you, or is your intent to kind of blend in more with the game and to role play? I think maybe the answer here really is intent. What are you trying to do? Everyone should be able to do whatever it is that makes them comfortable. Like I said, this is not you. This body you were placed into, your energy is in right now. This isn't you. You can change it. You can cut your hair. You can put on fake lashes. You can, go in and spray stuff on to make your skin look darker. There's so many things that people do all the time. So what's the intent, right? And I'm really grabbing on to the intent thing. I think that's the most important thing. Because if you're going in to screw with somebody and you're making yourself look like a little kid and you're just in there to mess with people and try your hand at being a shrieker, well, that's different because your intent is to be a shithead. Right?
Well, it's a slippery slope, because
it is.
Because the reason why I keep going kind of back on it is because what if you really feel like you are expressing yourself authentically? Like, what if you feel like a prisoner in your body, and like you were born a man and deep down you've always felt like you were a woman, and
people go through this shit all the time.
Sure, they do. And but getting a sex change operation is a pretty big fucking deal.
It is.
So maybe I can get a taste of that expression. I mean, and I probably shouldn't be speaking for these people, so I apologize if I offend anybody, I guess. But it's like, maybe this is an opportunity to like go in there and try it out, or whatever.
Sure.
Maybe you're a little curious, right? And you want to be like, okay, I want to feel like what it feels like to be a girl for a little while. And then that now becomes such a pure expression for you that, I guess it would be, it's almost like it would put so much responsibility on people who do that, because it would be your responsibility, if you're presenting yourself like that, to not allow someone else to like get so close to this. I don't know how to answer this, dude.
This is a tough one.
It's super hard. It's super difficult to answer. Like, I was just thinking, suppose that I want to, suppose my intent is to flirt with Alyx because I enjoy that attention and I like it when he gives me that sort of attention, and it's easier to flirt with him if I have a female voice and a female character. And all of a sudden now I'm getting attention from Alyx. Now I'm deceiving him in a way. My intent is to enjoy myself, but it's kind of harmless because, again, there's no situation in which I'm going to be in the same room as him. I'm in VR.
Well, because you're not going to get caught, that makes it okay.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's not going to get caught, or because there is no follow through. Like, it's how harmless is it? And I'm not saying it is or not, but if I'm flirting with Alyx as a female, and there is no intent to follow up, I'm never gonna, harass. I'm not gonna show up at his house.
Nope. Nope.
Am I hurting anybody?
Yes.
Am I not hurting? Is that intent okay? Is it not okay? Now, on the other hand, if Robyn were to come in and want to flirt with Alyx, she wouldn't have to change her voice. She probably has no intent. Well, she has no intent on like showing up at his house. But sometimes it's fun to flirt with people. Like it's something that people do. I'm really sorry to pick on you, Robyn. That was just the first name because you're in chat. First name came to mind. I'm not implying anything, but you know what I mean. Like if gender doesn't really matter in VR, because there is. I mean, let's not talk about VR sex.
Right.
If that's not happening and there's no intention and you're just kind of flirting around with somebody, that is an intent. It is weird, but is that okay? Is it not okay? If
I can give you a reason why it's not. Weird. And I would say that it's not because maybe it is. Maybe I have to make myself emotionally vulnerable in order to flirt with you. right? And that is, you're taking advantage of my willingness to make myself emotionally vulnerable, assuming that the situation that I'm interacting with is an authentic one, you know? And I know that, and this is where the problem, because it's like, well, but you're representing yourself authentically, right? Like you just, you know, whatever, but I'm like collateral damage in that, you know, like even though you're not like punching me or stabbing me, I still feel like that person on the other end of that is somehow experiencing some kind of collateral damage in that, you know, like they've been, I don't want to say deceived, because deceived implies negative intent, but they have been misled, at least to a certain degree, you know, like so they don't have the full picture.
This is one of those conversations that after the show, we're going to go sit around a table and we're going to come up with all these things that we should have said.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I will pick this conversation apart.
Yeah.
I will say, oh my goodness, why did I mention that? How stupid was it when I sound like that? I want everybody to know that I don't necessarily want to go play with 5-year-olds, although I do play with 11-year-olds in population 1. I just want to, I like posing the question. I don't want to go flirt. Well, I don't overtly want to flirt with Alyx as a female. I'm perfectly happy flirting with him as a male. Yeah, it works just as well.
Whatever your expression of flirtation is with me, I'm fine with it. But that's because I'm a willing participant in this whole charade, right? Like I know that you're an avatar. I know you're a dude. I know you want to change your, like whatever. I'm a willing fucking participant in that. Like if you came up to me and you pretended to be a 5-year-old for 5 minutes or whatever, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I love hanging out with 5-year-olds. You need to go, hey, by the way, I'm totally a dude. Are you still okay to keep doing this? And then I'd be like, oh. Yeah, okay, and then you go back into the other one, you know, like. But
you know what's really weird? It's very strange, but even knowing that someone is not what they say they are in VR, I still interact with people as though they are what they are in VR. So if you come up to me and you are in a female avatar, I naturally start interacting with you like you're a female to some degree. I can't help it. It's just because that's what I see. That's what my eyes are telling me. And I know 100% it's a guy behind there. And you could put on a voice changer, turn off and say, here, listen, I'm a 55-year-old guy. And then put back on a female voice and I will still treat you like you are. I'll treat you different, like you're a female. I will interact with you. I'll probably
this is good.
Inadvertently flirt. It's
now we're getting somewhere.
It tricks your mind, right?
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe there has to be like a consent thing. Like
disclosure.
Maybe it's good that in those situations, like you say, if you're starting to get, you know, close to someone, hey, maybe it's time to let them know who you are, but then be okay with it.
You're just expressing your intent, though, is what you're doing. You're expressing your intent. You're saying this is who I really am, but you know, this is my intent, right? So I still feel like it all comes down to intent. What are you trying to accomplish here? Right? Are you trying to deceive someone? Are you trying to sneak something on somebody? Or are you trying to express yourself? Are you trying to become more comfortable? Right. Like I would understand if Robyn raised her voice to sound like a dude, because so she doesn't get like mauled in like hyperdash when she goes in there and she can enjoy the game. The intent there is to go in and be covert.
But if she joins a competitive team and starts playing with these guys every day, it might be a good idea
different
to like, because hey, by the way, here I am.
Sure, exactly. Those are people she's going to grow a relationship with, right? And then you know, maybe she keeps that voice, but she says, hey, listen, this is who I really am, because I am expressing my intent here. Everyone, there are no victims or, you know, no collateral damage. It's all about intent.
And maybe they have to go out on a limb to do that, but straight up, like if you are that person who would find yourself in that scenario, then you are the minority and you probably need to help others in that scenario, right? Like we can't bend all the rules and cater to those situations that are probably a little bit more rare, right? Where someone's pushing it to that point where they're like, hey, listen, I am the opposite of what I appear and I'm going to present myself as something else online, right? Like, I don't think that that's the typical online user. Would you say that's typical? I would say it's not. So because that's atypical, it's that person's responsibility to disclose that information when appropriate and to do so, you know, obviously in a way that will hopefully be good for everybody involved, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of like as other things that other information you typically would disclose to people once you start to get close to them, right? Like there's all kinds of things I might think like, you know, maybe the first date isn't the time to tell someone I've been divorced. Maybe it's the 5th date. Right. So maybe the first date isn't the time to tell people that I'm actually a 55-year-old man. Maybe that's the 3rd date. You know, maybe after we get together and we start, you know, talking to minutes. Okay, that stage. Okay, this is getting serious. I better let you know that I'm a guy. I'm a dude.
Right. Well,
but maybe before that, when you don't feel like I guess it's gonna be a judgment call, right? Like, when is it appropriate to disclose some of this information?
And that's not black and white. There's fucking a billion shades of gray in there, because it's like, I would argue that if you were someone who had a sex change operation in real life and was, felt like you were the opposite sex and then had a sex change, boom, and now you're dating your now new appropriate opposite sex, I feel like that would be information that if I was going on a date with you, I'd like to know up front. You know what I mean? Like, before we go on the date.
Point. Yeah,
I would like to know.
Should they have to disclose that up front? Like, is that, like, they might feel like it's not on.
I think after date one, I would be a little deceived. Like, we'd get to the end of the night and she's like, by the way, I was born a dude. Are you comfortable with that? I'd be like, fuck, you probably should have told me that before I bought your dinner. Like, because that's a deal breaker for me. You know what I mean?
All hate mail can go to info at.
No. I'm speaking hypothetically.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I'm speaking
hypothetically, yes.
I'm speaking hypothetically. Hey, listen,
this
we're all
is a safe
adults here.
place.
We're all adults here.
We can express ourselves.
Right. So these are questions that we have to have conversations about, because, you're showing up on our show in an avatar, and 5 years from now, everyone's going to be in avatars doing all kinds of crazy shit. And this is all relevant and really fucking interesting, because I personally am 100% for expression, so long as there are no victims in this situation, right? Like, I don't think you should be out there catfishing people and shit. So, but like we're saying right now, it's not black and white. There's a million shades of gray, and this is really hard to pinpoint.
Yeah, I think, any question out there, you should kind of just look at it and say, am I being a dick? am I intentionally trying to deceive somebody? Or am I, I feel like, as long as you got to just kind of feel like you are doing the right thing, always just do the right thing. And if you feel like the right thing is to be something else while you're online, then I'm fucking fine with that. You know what I mean? But if you come after me to attempt to strengthen a relationship with deceiving information that isn't really true, obviously that's different. But the whole thing with VR and VR chat and alt space and all these social things is to go in and express yourself and to be what you want to be. There's no question if you're really Stewie from Family Guy or something. Obviously you're not. Do you know what I mean? But like, so as long as your intent isn't to deceive and to hurt somebody, then fuck it, do you. I think that's it. Do you. So
I like that. I think it's great to just have forums where you can ask these questions. I think that's the other thing, that people get nervous to ask and talk about this stuff, because especially when we're smaller channels, right? I mean, I've got not that many subscribers. You guys have got,
even less.
Half of you're not that many.
There's a lot less risk of us discussing this, right? So if I say something and someone's like, wow, that was completely insensitive, like, how could you have discussed that topic? And, I lose all my subscribers. I mean, tragic. I'll feel very bad about myself. But at least we can talk about this stuff, right? Because there's that big risk where if you say the wrong thing, if you're a bigger media outlet, you can just get hated on. Like, you can basically get canceled off, the platform for saying the wrong thing wrong time. But these are questions that we have to ask. Like, these are things we should talk about now while VR is still new.
And I would certainly hope that people would keep our intentions in mind. And I know that no one cares about your intention in this day and age, right? If you said the words, fuck your intention, like, it doesn't matter if you meant to hurt my feelings. You said the thing that hurts my feelings, so you did, but like, I personally, and you know what, you guys, if you want to start fucking canceling me, go for it. Because I personally am, first of all, I feel like authenticity is the most important thing, period. I think you need to be authentic at all times. And if that means presenting yourself as a female in an avatar, awesome. If that means we have this conversation on our fucking show, then so be it, because that's what authentically we're talking about and we're feeling. And this is some serious shit that we wanted to fucking get into today. So there you have it.
That's awesome.
My intention is not malicious. Okay. So if I ever say anything that upsets anyone, rather than them canceling me or getting pissed, I would probably suggest that they come and have a conversation with me, because I'm a rational human being. And if you can present it to me in a way that I can understand, then you could very easily change my mind. I'm not one of these people in the world that are like so fucking hellbent and rigid in my perspective that I can't be altered. In fact, I had a roommate who was gay, and I used to use the F word all the time. I grew up using not fuck. All right, people, the other F word.
Yes. Yeah, that was common knowledge too.
I grew up using this word, and I had a roommate who was gay, and I used the word liberally because we were just like friends, and I was authentic, and it was a part of my everyday authentic speaking. And one day he had a sit-down conversation with me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like, you can't use that word, man. Like, that really, it sucks, you know?" And I was like, "What? Like, come on, you know? Like, I don't have ill intention here. Like, you're my friend. I love you. We live together, you know? Like, it's all good." And he's like, "Yeah, but," and he's had the conversation with me, and he explained it to me in a way that made sense. And I was like, "All right, I will remove it from my vocabulary," you know? And since that day, I have not used it. So I think cancel culture is horse shit. I think that we should be more willing to have uncomfortable conversations, and I think that you should inspire people to change their minds instead of demonizing and crucifying them when they say something that you don't agree with.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think people have to have hard conversations.
Talk and use your words to each other, people. That's what they're there for.
Just as long as you're doing so with love. That's the most important thing. Like, it is, intention is everything, folks. And I think that is probably a good place to start to wrap this up. So
it is. Yeah, we've been going for a bit.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. What else do you need to say before we kick you off the show?
Oh man, I've said so much, and this has been just such a fun time. Thank you so much, guys, for bringing on the show. I love having this conversation. I mean, you should see the conversations we have outside the show, like when we're just sitting around and hanging out and playing World of Warcraft, the tangents we go on. So so keep coming to the show, keep joining these kinds of conversations, and you know what? This is a safe space. Like, use the chat, ping people. If anything we said made you uncomfortable and made you like want to think, but you didn't want to put in public chat, I mean, you can hit these guys up on their Discord. You can private message me and say, if we say anything that offends you, I just want more people to have more of these conversations, because VR is changing the way we interact. And I'm looking forward to a day when it's not controversial at all. You run into someone in VR and that's who they are, and you don't even question it. You just like, this is just us in virtual reality having a good time. I don't even care if you're just a brain in a vat, right? For all I know, that is my dream. It's one day to just be a brain sitting in a vat, connected to VR, having a great time.
Wow,
so thank you very much, guys.
A glorious, beautiful dream that is.
Yes. A brain in a vat. We could very well be that brain in a vat. So,
we
who knows?
Probably are. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure having you. You're a great friend to us and the rest of the VR community, and we are huge supporters of yours. We want you to keep doing what you're doing. In the links below, we have in the description below, we have links to AspinDarkfire's Twitch and YouTube channel. You should definitely follow and subscribe to both of them.
Same with on the monitors right below us here. This is information. Check him out. Subscribe.
There it is.
He's got some great shorts. He's a funny dude. He does all kinds of amazing shit, and you definitely want to go be a part of the Aspin community.
All right, AD. Until next time, brother. We'll see you soon.
Adios, buddy.
Guys, thanks so much.
Later, bro. And thank you to everyone in the chat who has been here with us today. This was a stimulating conversation, and it was really great to have some of your feedback here as we kind of went through. I know it's not super easy sometimes to pull in some of the comments during these chats, but do know that I am skimming all of this as it's happening, and your input is awesome. So thank you guys so much for being here and for allowing us to have a platform where sometimes we can talk about some fucking crazy shit and go off the deep end a little bit. We really love it, and we love you.
And there's a lot of news going on in the VR community. We covered a little bit of it, but if you want the rest, we have a page full of shit we didn't get to. But head over to Rendered Reality, head over to Paradise Decay, GT. So many good places to get amazing content.
Delirium
these days.
True, Quick Silva, Morph Central,
love all you guys,
person Chris. Thank you guys all so much for being here. So
next week,
Rendered Realities tomorrow. Also, I will be again on Andy's channel, Obscure Nerd, tomorrow. So show up there next week.
Next week we have David DeJong. Is that how you say it correctly?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Oh.
Do you know who that is?
I know who that is.
So David DeJong is Nathy's brother and manager. We've had Nathy on the show before, but David is his manager, and he's also a dude who works in like VR healthcare space, and he's kind of an eccentric dude, just like Nathy is. And
I think he's gonna have some amazing perspective
I am
to bring
so
to these
excited
conversations.
to talk to this guy.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, because we talked to the little bro, but now I want to talk to big bro. You know, I want to talk about what it was like, you know, for him having his little brother do all of this and getting to be a part of it and all of that shit. So
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time.
Nathan and his brother are awesome dudes. Like I said, Nathan's been on the show before. We had a great chat with him, and now we're stoked to talk to his brother next week. So join in next week with David DeJong, and I think that's it, right?
I think so, man. I think that's it.
All right,
Guess
everybody.
we gotta get out of here.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you very soon.
All right, bye.